Welcome to Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Today's video, we're going to be making some removable vent covers for the exterior of a house. The current covers that are on this house are deteriorated, and the owner's looking for something new. So let's get started on today's video. Today's video is sponsored by King Metals. They've got all your fabrication needs in one location. From hinges to hardware, balusters to metal decor, brass to aluminum, and a whole lot more. You name it, they've got it. Check them out today at kingmetals.com. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, so going over to my metal supply here, and that keeps adding up and keeps adding up. I keep thinking I'm going to get rid of it, but it just, I keep getting more and more projects and no room to store it. So for now, that's where it's going to be. All right, so for this particular project, we're using some 3/4 inch square tube. This is 120 wall, and I'm over at the Evolution S380 CPS. This saw right here, I've got this one, and I also have the 14-inch S355 CPSL. They're pretty much the same saw. This one here has got a 15-inch capacity. I run a 14-inch blade on both of them. Really good saws. Don't have any issues with them. I haven't had any issues with them. They work perfectly. You can see that I really like the adjustment for the 45 and the different angles. It's got some dedicated angles to it where you can adjust the table right there, but I've also set my own angles with some markers, and that's easy adjustment. All right, after getting everything all cut out, what I'm going to be doing is installing some thumb latches, some spring-loaded thumb latches on the ends of this. Now, I try to think everything through thoroughly before I build the project, and in this case, I thought it would be best that I just drill and tap these holes prior to the assembly. Well, that's what I'm doing right here. The thumb latches are 1/4 20, so this is a number 7 drill bit, and it's roughly about 1.5 inches from the end on either side of both frames. A funny thing is, so I've had the KBC mill for about 6 months now, and I just love the comments in the comment section. I've got one guy that said, or several people said, "Hey, congratulations, good job," and then I get another guy that says, "Yeah, all he's going to drill is small holes with it." I gotta agree with them. Sometimes it is that way. I'm not a machinist, but I am starting to do a little bit more milling projects on it, and it is a lot of fun. But for now, this is what I'm using it for, and I like the accuracy of it and the way it performs. It's been a really nice addition to the shop. All right, so once I got the holes drilled out, it's just a little countersink right there to clean up the burrs. And now I'm going to get back over to the mill. Now this is the STM reversing tapping head. I got this a while back for a project I was doing. I had 100 holes to drill and tap, and I didn't want to do it by hand, so I did a little research. I ended up getting this at KBC Tools. Now this is very similar to the Tap Magic. However, this is a little bit cheaper, and I decided to splurge and get the 0 to 1/4 inch. That's what this size is here, and then also the 5/16 to 3/4. So I've got a pretty wide range of tapping capability with these tapping heads. You can see how well they work. You just set them right in, put a little lubrication, just drive the handle down, it taps, and then just reverses out. It does a great job for tapping quickly. Like I said, you can do 100 holes fairly quick and accurately with this tapping head. Pretty cool. You don't use it all the time, but when you need it, you need it. All right, after all that's done, now it's time for assembly. I'm over here to the Certiflat welding table. I got my table dogs, some armor fixture clamps, and I'm clamping everything down. And again, I can't say enough about being able to have the right tools for the right job. Between the table and the clamps, the smallest jobs like this right here just makes it really easy. Make a final adjustment here with the square. You can see it doesn't take very long at all. But once everything is adjusted and the measurements are just right and it's nice and square, it's just time to put it together. Now, if you didn't have all this capability, it would be 2 or 3 or 4 times longer to get everything just right. All right, a couple tacks on either side, and once that's done, then just weld as much as I can, get rid of all the clamps and stuff, nothing's going anywhere, and then I'm just going to go ahead and weld it out. Now, it's not much. 3/4 inch square tube doesn't take a lot to go around, but that's the way I like to do things. And when this is all done, we're gonna get a flap disc and clean everything up. All right, I'm working off the HTP ProPulse 220 MTS. That is my go-to machine for most things I do. It is spooled with 35 thousandths wire, and I like to run 90-10, 90% argon, 10% CO2. You know, 75-25 worked well too. It's just I've been using 90-10. I've been very happy with that for the last 3 or 4 years. It's worked out well for me. And for my machine, for something like this, an average is about 250 to 275 inches a minute. That's what works the best for me. It kind of stays at that adjustment for mostly everything I do. Yeah, for the thinner wall stuff, you might have to be a little bit careful what you don't burn through, but for the most part, it just works well for me. All right. Got them all welded up. Now it's time to just get a flap disc and kind of grind everything down, smooth everything up. It is going to get powder coated, so I do want it to look nice. And for that, I'm using a ceramic trimmable flap disc from Mercer here. This is a 60 grit. Now, you know, they make all kinds of different grits here. You know, 120, 60, I believe 36 and 24. They've got a lot of different varieties of grits, and I have them all, and I do use them all. But my go-to is a 60. I found that works the best for what I'm using it for. Sometimes, you know, if I'm painting it versus powder coating is a lot thicker, and so it hides maybe the scratch marks from the grinding down. But if you're painting, I've found that's a little thinner, and sometimes I have to back this 60 grit up with a 120, and it smooths it right out perfectly smooth. So, you know, all in all, this is something that I like to do, is just clean up the welds on mostly everything I do. I get a lot of people say that you don't need to do that. It weakens the project. I've never had any issues with any of the stuff that I've done, and I just think it makes for a cleaner looking project. All right, and for the screen on this, we're just going to be using some 1/4 inch mesh that I had left over from a project. And that's another thing, I hang on to everything. Everything that I use, every piece I hang on to. You just never know when you're going to use it, and for this stuff, worked out perfect for the project we're using right here. Just marked it all. You can tell I've had it for a while. It's a little rusted up, but you know, the rust is not a bad thing. We'll get it all cleaned up with powder coat. And I'm just using a cutoff wheel on an angle grinder right here. I found that's the best way to cut it. It's a nice clean job. You can see right there that you know, I like to leave a little bit, not the exact size, a little shorter, so I've got room for the weld to fit on the square tube. All right, and these little spring-loaded thumb latches I got from McMaster-Carr. Perfect for this project. The length and everything is just right, 1/4 20, and you can see that now is the time I want to assemble these things and put them in there. Yeah, prior to, it'd been a little bit more difficult to do it once it all put together. I'm fascinated by these thumb latches. I'm amazed at how perfect this turned out. You know, I didn't plan on it. I just ordered them, and this is the way they came, and it just worked perfect with this 3/4 inch square tube. And that's one, and then here is the other one right here. You know, for the most part, they all screwed in pretty good. There was 8 of them, and all 7 of them did, except for this one right here. There must have been a burr or something in there. I probably could have ran a tap through there again and cleaned it up, but you know, it's just a 1/4 inch. I just grabbed a 1/4 inch wrench, and it just screwed right in there with no problem. All right, for welding this thing together, all I'm doing is just bump tacking this about every 2 inches all the way around and getting all the corners as well. And that's about all you need. And that turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. It's a clean little project. All right, that was a great little project. I got to say, I had a lot of fun building this. It was a really good design. I really like the round pattern mesh that's behind this, and I like these spring latches right here. Great idea. They fit really well on this 3/4 inch square tube. But it was just then when I realized that there could be a design flaw here. After I thought about how well this is going to work, I realized that in order to put this in and to take it out, you need to take these spring latches and you need to bring them in, but there's 4 of them. Now, I don't know about you, but most of us only have 2 hands. I think it's going to take 4 hands to do this. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come up with something that I can maybe slide over the top of this with a slot in it, that when I can bring this spring back, I can just move it over the top and it'll retain these spring latches in the open position, therefore giving us room to put it into place and then releasing those, and they can go back in to hold them in place. Only taking 2 hands. But I got an idea how this is going to happen, so let's get started and I'll show you how I think I'm going to do this. All right, so what I found was some brass tubing. Now, I'm not certain if this is 3/8 or 1/4 inch. I don't know how they measure this stuff, but all I know is the idea of this fits right over top of that 1/4 hex nut, and nice snug fit. So I've made my dimensions there. I've measured it. I believe it's right at about 1 1/8 is the size I need that's going to work for me. And what I've done is I have just cut everything off to the right length and then just run a chamfering tool on the inside and then a chamfering tool on the outside. Did that on both sides, and that's what it looks like. Took it over to the mill, got an 1/8 inch end mill, and whoops, I forgot to tighten the vise. All right, got in there, and a nice clean cut. Brass is great to work with, so smooth and so soft, and it makes for a clean project. And this is the way it works, right over the top. And that spring latch is retained open in the open position and springs closed. I got 8 of them to make, so I'm just going to show you this one more time. Basically, I just parted it off to the right length and then run a chamfering tool on the inside, slight little chamfer on the inside, and then a small little chamfer on the outside. Did the same thing on the other side as well. Doesn't take much. This is really soft. And then over to the KBC, 1/8 inch end mill, and just run that right through there, and that worked out really good. I'm really pleased with the way that worked out. It's a nice, smooth, tight fit over the top. I'm just gathering up all the pieces right here, all 8 of them, and then this is the way they go. Right over the top, they slide right on, a nice tight fit. And I gotta say, it was a fun little project, and it turned out really good. All right, so there you go. Those brass tubes with a ticket here on these spring latches right here. Now we're able to keep these things held open. We'll be able to put them in and install them without any problems at all. You know, these small little projects sometimes are the funnest ones. This is a good looking project, as small as it is. It turned out really well, better than expected. We're gonna get this over to the powder coaters and then we'll get it installed. If you guys haven't already, check out my website at JIMBO'S.com. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of stuff, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next video.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.